So I'm recording this on a cloudy day and I am feeling so excited. Having to hype myself up to come into every single video feels like going on set. And I trust and believe that one day I will have a full studio or a full cute little office in my home where I can record these in great lighting and nonetheless not having to rely on natural light. This is a sound check. So hi and welcome to my YouTube channel and happy Sunday. I hope you're having a great day so far. Decided finally on 2 p.m. every other Sunday. For my returning subscribers, hi and welcome. And if you are new here onto my platform, hi and welcome. The name is Gorata.Selaledi. I'm so excited to be here today as I have just completed my first series. Truly honored to also be here as we will be just wrapping up and sharing the key thoughts and the key takeaways from the series that was titled Anointed for More. That is a reminder and that is a call, that is a charge, not only to me but to you as we move into the second half of the year. How are you feeling? I hope there aren't any feelings of shame regarding how far you've come, because honestly, God has been carrying you and He is not done with you yet. There's so much more. There's so much more that can still come out of your life. And as we jump into today's reflection, I do hope that the key takeaways from all the 4 verses that we were reading from the month of June will be a blessing and a beacon of hope for you as you move into the month of July. So let's get into the word. Let's get into the word. So I will be reading all the verses that we were reflecting on for the month of June, and that is John 15 verse 5, Luke 9 verse 23, Genesis 15 verse 1, and Jeremiah 29 verse 11 to 13. So I am going to read those in your hearing. Just as a recap, not to assume that you know the verses, not to assume that you watched the videos that I had created, and if you haven't, please make time to just jump on there to hear my thoughts and to inspire yourself to get to that place of reflecting on the word in terms of what it means for your life and your story. So John 15 verse 5 reads, I am the vine. And this is Jesus speaking. He says, I am the vine and ye are the branches. He that abideth in me and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me he can do nothing. I'm going to read it again, slower. It says, I am the vine and ye are the branches. He that abideth in me and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me, you can do nothing. So that was John 15 verse 5. And then we're going to read Luke 9 verse 23. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Okay. So that's Luke 9 verse 23. Luke 9 verse 23. I read in your hearing. It reads, it says, and he said to them all of them, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. I'm going to read it again. And he said to them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. And the third verse is from Genesis 15 verse 1. And it reads in your hearing, after these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. I am thy shield and exceeding great reward. And the last verse I've actually in my mind, I'm going to read that again for the benefit of myself, because I was actually not very mindful when I was reading that. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. And then the last verse was from Jeremiah 29, verse 11 to 13. Jeremiah 29, verse 11 to 13. Reading in your hearing, it says, For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Verse 12, Then you shall call upon me, you shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you. Verse 13, And you shall seek me and find me, when you shall search for me with all your heart. And that concludes the reading of the word. So these were the 4 verses that I was reflecting on to kind of lay a foundation for the next decade, if I was to describe it as such, for myself. And the key reflection coming into the series was just really thinking about how the past decade in my 20s was characterized by trying to play God in a sense in my own life, in terms of navigating my own life, directing my own steps. And it didn't really play out very well in my early 20s, right? But I saw a quantum leap, if I was to describe it as such, when it came to my late 20s, when I now started discovering God for myself, now starting to get to a place of learning how to surrender and building a deeper intimacy for myself on a daily basis. So I am going to share in the next few minutes a bit of encouragement to carry us into the coming month. Encouragement that is based off of these 4 verses. And I'm hoping that even as I share, you will reflect on the big so what. It's going to probably sound like something you've heard in a sermon or a song, but I want to encourage you to really reflect on what it means and what these verses mean, more importantly, to the season of life that you are in right now. And I hope that the Holy Spirit will reveal in a very big way what these verses mean for you and how they can actually shift you to a deeper appreciation of God's presence in your life and a deeper appreciation of God's hand over your life. So let's get into the reflection. So what is the key encouragement that we are getting from the book of John, the book of Ruth, the book of Genesis, and Jeremiah 29? Many nuggets that I think even moving into the next decade for myself, I am probably going to come back to the studio and just tap into that to reflect for that moment of my life, because I do believe that the Word of God speaks every single season. In every single season of our lives, it speaks differently. There's a fly that just swooped across my screen. But the Word of God speaks and can release new power and strength into our lives with every season of our lives, right? So I am definitely going to come back here. But going into the month of July, the key encouragement from these 4 verses, the first one says that God is inviting us to remain connected to Him, and strength and fruitfulness come from this union. God is saying that He is the vine and we are the branches. And something that I was thinking about, just I guess reflecting on it as I was reading it earlier, was that we need to remain in God always. And remaining, it's in every single moment. And I'd say the key intentions of our hearts should be rooted in God always, right? Our actions, our thoughts, our motives should be filtered through the lens of God, right? And I think ultimately it's then to say the principles in how you make your decisions and how you lead your lives should be tied to what God is saying about that particular area of your life. Because I believe the Bible has nuggets, I don't say nuggets, but it has truths that you can actually apply in every single area of your life. Yes, even in the 21st century, right? So I'm just going to read that again. It says, God is inviting us to remain connected to Him, and strength and fruitfulness come from this union. And I am going to share at the end of this video where I just share a conclusion there in terms of that fruitfulness, to say what are those fruits, right? But the second reflection is on Luke 9 verse 23, to say that following God requires sacrifice and commitment. Following God requires sacrifice and commitment. And the key, I'm just trying to remember the word that I left out when I read this. But yeah, why it's important, I guess, in this case, to deny yourself daily from Luke 9:23 is really a case of getting to align your life with His purpose despite the challenges, right? Because I think life in of itself, every other day, every other week, there is something that comes in to challenge us, challenge our families, challenge our society, challenge our communities and our nations, and ultimately the whole world. And I think in God, and having I'd say a posture of having to pick up that cross every single day, the world actually is blessed in a very big way in terms of the impact of kingdom citizens who are looking to actually carry into every space the love that exudes or come from having had been in the presence of God, right? So alignment, and this is daily alignment as we pick up the cross. And I think just thinking about the crucifixion, very traumatizing in of itself, but now really thinking about laying it down and laying those things that are leaving you traumatized, are leaving you feeling petrified, to then say, I'm carrying this thing, I'm laying it all down at the feet of Jesus, and I am actually denying myself to actually take on this new I'd say this new character that Christ modeled when He came onto the earth, right? And the last nugget, or the last reflection from Genesis 15 and Jeremiah combined, is that God reassures us of His protection, provision, and future filled with hope. Trusting His plans leads to a fulfilling life. This other day, I caught myself falling down into a worry spiral. And it was so terrible that I had to even make a joke about the actual thing that I was seeing. Like, I saw a yellow car, a yellow VW, that in the plate number, it was BUG, bug, right? And having to pull myself back into the moment by, identifying what was in my present state. It's a little hack that I learned from therapy. Helped me to actually center and pull myself back into the moment, right? And worry, I feel, is something that is so easy, or comes very easy, and snowballing came very easy for me, and it's something that I'm unlearning. But I think the key reminders that I'm taking away from Genesis 15 and Jeremiah is that assurance that God is my shield, right? God is my shield, and He is my exceedingly great reward in terms of provision. If I believe that God is my source, right? If you believe that God is your source, going into the month of July, I want to encourage you to always remember that He has already made that provision. So there is a confidence, there is a joy, there is a peace that comes with knowing that for yourself. And I'd want to encourage you to walk in it. I'd want to encourage you to, even before you start your day, remind yourself that ultimate provision comes from God. And even as you work, even as you strive to learn, if you're in school, put in the work, but also knowing that ultimately at the end of it all, however big, however small, whatever it is you are doing, God is the ultimate reward in this case. And I hope you do get God, even as you pursue your work, as you pursue your schooling. I hope that you do get an encounter with Him, to actually feel that peace, to feel that love, that even in all of that, you will ultimately at the end of the day get to enjoy an intimacy with God for yourself, right? And trusting His plans leads to a fulfilling life. I hope that even as you move into the month of July, there is a fullness of life for you and for your family, even for myself, stepping into this new month. And I think the key reflection is from Jeremiah 11 at the end, where it says, God has an expected end for your future, right? And it's just a thing of, for the whole month of July, there's a blueprint set out in terms of how your life is going to play out. And I think going back to your source and going back to the vine, to really tap in and ask to say, Lord, give me the vision, give me the dream, give me the direction in terms of this coming month, each and every single day, right? And not trying to rely on yourself to figure it out, comes with so much fulfillment, right? Scary, but very fulfilling. Very scary, but very fulfilling, right? I think that's why that phrase that Mike Todd shared, I think a few years ago, is a crazy faith, is literally that, because it's a thing of, you are believing in something that you haven't seen, right? You are believing that God has already made a provision. You are believing that God has a plan and a blueprint for your life, even before you see it. But you are getting to a place where you're building intimacy with the one who holds the plans. And even if you don't know the plan, you're trusting, just like a child trusts his dad driving the car. You don't go to the driving wheel and just try turn it yourself. You don't do that. No, we trust that He's actually carrying us to an expected end, which is filled with hope, right? And just as a closing thought for today's video, for today's Sunday video, the last Sunday of June 2024, 3 key things moving into July, right? Challenging ourselves to learn daily surrender, right? So daily surrendering, when you wake up, before you touch your phone, fall onto your knees and literally pray. Before you, maybe after you snooze or switch off the alarm, roll over and fall on your knees and pray, right? Pray about that thing you're worried about. Pray that thing that you're scared about. Pray about that thing that you're angered about, the thing you're frustrated about, and surrender it to God so that you can actually walk in everything that He's laid out for you in that particular day. And ultimately, tying in the fact that God does all things for His glory, I believe that your day will play out so beautifully. So daily surrender. Secondly, seeking God wholeheartedly. I don't know what that looks like for you, but practical things, reading the Word to actually understand the mind of God, and really just asking Him, even as you read the stories, asking Him how and the so what, and how that applies to your current situation, right? And prayer. I think the wholeheartedness in prayer is actually being vulnerable and allowing yourself to actually share truly how you're feeling when you kneel down before the Father. And I want to challenge you. There's a verse in the Bible that says for us to come boldly, right? You know, when you are in lack and you know that your parents can provide for you, you don't feel any shame to go to them and say, but please help me, right? Even as a baby, when you get hurt, you run to your mom and you cry. So I want to encourage you this week and going into this new month, that run to the Father. Run. Don't walk. Run. Don't walk. As you seek to build this intimacy, allow yourself to be vulnerable. The English bundle's finished. Allow yourself to be vulnerable, right? And it's a challenge to me, it's a challenge to you, but I do hope that you will allow yourself to be vulnerable. And lastly, bear fruit, right? Bear fruit. And this is tied to John 15 to then say that He's the vine and we are the branches, right? So the fruits pour out from the branches ultimately, right? And I just want to share in closing Galatians 5 verse 22 to 23 to touch on the fruits that you are going to enjoy, that the people that are tied to you are going to enjoy as you continue your journey with God on a daily basis. So that's Galatians 5 verse 22 to 23. It says, But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, aka patience, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. As we draw closer to greater intimacy with God, I do hope that your life overflows with fruitfulness, that may the people that are connected to you enjoy the fragrance and atmosphere that is filled with all these fruits, and ultimate one being love in this case, because I feel it kind of just pours out all the others, right? So I hope that this video has blessed you, and if you do believe that it will bless someone else, please do share. I was going to say like and share, but please do like this video, leave a comment in the comment section in terms of what your key takeaways have been from these 4 verses that we were reflecting for this series. And I'm so excited to see you next Sunday, as we will be launching a new series that is going to run over 48 weeks. That's the whole year until June 2025. We will be exploring the names and nature of God. This God that we keep talking about. Who is He? How is He like in terms of His characteristics? So watch this space as we dive deeper into understanding and learning and growing in our faith. And thank you so much for watching this video to the very end. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day and the rest of the year, as we still draw deeper to staying connected. John 15, denying ourselves daily and carrying our cross. Luke 9, remembering that God is our shield and our exceeding great reward. Genesis 15:1, and trusting and believing that God has a hope and a future for us. And from Jeremiah 29:13, seeking God with all our hearts. Thank you so much for watching this video to the very end, and I hope you have an amazing week further. It is goodbye from me. Bye.